pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody. First item here is the minutes from the October, well, that is, we're gonna back that up a little bit. The minutes from the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting and the executive session. Everybody's chance to look at those. We'll entertain a motion to approve those or any changes.
I'm making a motion to approve as submitted.
No second.
All right, motion from second from Mike. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next we have changes or approving in the agenda. Entertain a motion to either adopt the agenda or any changes.
Making a motion to adopt the agenda.
No second.
Motion from Robin, second from Mike to adopt the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, guests in open forum. Anybody here to speak for guests in open forum tonight? Seeing none, we will move on to committee reports. Public Works.
Public Works, we discussed several things, a lot of things we didn't take any action on. We talked about the city and the town shared roads, some little discussion on Central Avenue. Phil's got to do some research on with the county and whatnot on that and 53 to get those ironed out. A feasibility study, which we'll be talking about at our meeting here tonight. And we had a discussion on hazardous waste materials, having a location in the area. And we decided we wanted the county to do more research on that before we get into something there. Wastewater admin building flooring, you're presenting something tonight on that, aren't you? Or is it just doing it through operations? Which was, the committee went along with that. Domestic headworks, some work on that. They'll make a presentation on that tonight. And that's about it.
All right, fire board, looks like both of our fire board members
was
are-
postponed due to lack of quorum. It'll be next Monday.
Monday. All righty, and Parks and Rec was canceled.
Yep.
All righty, moving along, we'll move on to board, committee, and consultant reports. Letter A, domestic headwork screen and compactor replacement. Mr. Chris Lisson.
Good evening, members of council. So one of our projects this year was to replace the screen and compactor in our domestic headworks building. We've kind of gone through the preliminary steps in that. We looked at different types of screens, what would fit within the footprint of what we have, worked with our engineering firm. We did have staff go out and actually visit Owatonna, the screen that we're looking at or interested in. They have a similar kind, so we had two people go down there and look at it in person. We did also do a conference call with a Zoom meeting, so conference call is probably dating, but with the operators from Owatonna as well, just to talk to them, get a feel for how they like it, how it stands up, what kind of maintenance is required, those kind of things. After all of that, we got some really good feedback from them. Theirs is 7 years old. It's in a facility that does 7 million gallons a day in wastewater treatment, so significantly larger than ours. Virtually no issues as far as maintenance. It stood up very well over time. So based on that feedback, we were pretty happy with that screen type. Our engineer, based on those, that feedback, did finish up the plans and specifications. So tonight we are bringing those plans and specifications to council, asking for approval of those, and then asking for authorization to take those out for bid for that project. I did include in there kind of a rough time frame. If you guys approve going forward with this, we'd be looking at, getting it out for bid, a pre-bid conference November 15th, bid opening December 6th, bid award the 12/19, so the December 19th council meeting. And then if all that goes through, the build time roughly right now is 6 to 8 months for the screen itself. So ideally by December of 2024, the project would be complete, screen in place, and that, so a little bit of a runway there, but they don't keep them on the shelf, so, yep. So, if there's any questions, I can answer those. This was talked about at Public Works Committee this last time. The committee did approve moving it forward to council. We do have money set aside in our budget to cover the cost of the project. I did include in the packet the most recent estimate of cost for the project, so you guys could review that. And if there's no questions, I would look for a motion and a second to approve Resolution 23-105, which is the acceptance of the plans and specifications for the headwork screen and compactor replacement, and then authorizing staff to take it out for bid.
Alrighty. Thank you, Chris. Council, any questions?
If there's no questions, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23-105.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion by Mike, second by Rob, and any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and you might as well stay put and do our next one here, Public Works Facility Feasibility Study Proposal.
Yeah, so again, tonight, RCN resolution. So our public works facility has some issues that, just from age, there's things that need to be addressed. The paving around the main admin building is getting rough. There's some block that's just kind of deteriorating just from age, weather, those kind of things. As we've talked about this over the last couple of years, and pretty much my entire time in my current role, there was talks in the past about possibly moving the public works facility. My opinion right now is we're in a really nice central location. The grounds can handle what we need for what we're doing right now, but we do need to address some things with the buildings and the grounds to make sure it will last us, hopefully at least in the next decade and beyond. So, because we don't want to try to do this on a napkin and figure out ourselves, we do want to incorporate some professionals that can help us kind of assess the bones, make sure everything that we have is still usable, and then look at possibilities to expand the site, address any of the exterior issues, so like exterior of the building. Is there expansion possibilities? Can we add a couple of bays? Currently, one of the issues that our mechanic has is if we have our full plow put together, so front plow in the truck, wing, and you pull the tandem axle in, you gotta take the front plow off. So to do work in the winter, you gotta take the front plow off, pull it in, do the work, go back out, rehook up. So it would be nice to be able to have at least one longer stall that you could pull it in, possibly a pull through, do the work, leave everything together, that kind of thing. So those are some of the things. One issue that we currently have, our admin is kind of on the south side of the building, right next to where the mechanic does a lot of the work. So when he's doing loud things to equipment in there, I see her with her headphones on quite often. So, and the building really doesn't have any kind of a front location, you say like a public access where a resident, if they want to come in and say, talk to the supervisor about something or have an issue, we don't really have a door that is kind of where right now we park on the back side. Well, there's a garage door open, you're walking right into our shop. We don't really want that. So one thing we would potentially look at is adding, say, on the north side, make that kind of the front public entrance, move her desk that way, so we'd separate her kind of from the commotion of the shop, and then you maybe have a parking spot or two where if a resident has an issue, now they have more of a spot they know they can park, and you come in through an entrance that's separated from the day-to-day workings of our public works. And just kind of overall addressing any space needs, storage needs, those kind of things. So we did reach out initially to SEH about something they could help us with. We did not get a proposal back from them. It was March of this year. We didn't have anything from them for several months. We did then reach out to HR Green because we were already working up with them on a couple other projects. They were interested in putting together a proposal. We have a proposal from them, and then we did get the one from SEH about 2 weeks ago. So I included both in the packet tonight. Cost for the services is pretty similar. I think either company would be able to do the work that we're asking them to do. So kind of based on the speed of response and that, we would be looking to go with the HR Green proposal tonight. So we do have money budgeted in the CIP. We'd use some of those funds for the building upgrades. So we kind of had money in there for paving and exterior work on the admin building. So we'd use some of those funds to cover this feasibility study to kind of help us and start the process of determining what the next best steps are at the public works site to kind of extend its life for at least the next 10 years. And I know Phil has talked about what our goal would be to look is if there are projects we can do in kind of smaller pieces, so we can kind of take it in a phased approach rather than one large project. You can kind of take, this is one bite we can take now and then progress through that. So if there's any questions, I can answer those. Otherwise, I'd look for a motion and a second to approve resolution 23-106, resolution accepting the proposal from HR Green for the Public Works facility feasibility study for a price not to exceed $39,800.
So as you had, mentioned, like you said, probably going back 2017 when we did that, I think it was the feasibility, where we did the study for here, the golf course, we looked at that facility, your facility there. We looked at every, different options. Do we relocate the campus and, due to the location of it? Is the scope of work of this study, would that imply, would they be taking the assumption that that campus is gonna stay there for the foreseeable future then?
Yep.
Okay, so it wouldn't be a,
This study would not like look at alternative sites for it. Nope.
Okay.
This would be to look at how can we take what we have and bring it forward so it's usable, address any needs we have now for, 10 years plus.
10 plus, okay, that was gonna be my next question, because
Yep.
we did that with our city hall study,
I don't know what will happen, 10 years from now, like you said. I know in the past it was talked about that piece of property could be more valuable as a commercial site or something like, maybe, I don't know, but I don't see that right now. And I just look at usability for staff. So to get to our parks, that's a nice central location. If we move on the other side of the Elk River, on the other side of Highway 10, or if we go out north of town on the 80 that we own, now you're talking about a lot more trailering and a lot more distance to get to the heart of the city, where now we're in the heart of the city. So my preference would be to stay there. It's a good location for that. So, kind of make sure the bones we have are good. If there's some, projects we can take on now to ensure the bones stay good, do those and then stay there, and then it can be the next guy's problem to worry about after. No,
toss the grenade over.
I suppose I got more than 10 years left, but.
You never know.
Yeah,
We just won't accept the resolution of,
good point.
you're stuck here.
I would add, they are going to look at a remote site, by Water Tower number 2. We purchased that 6 acre parcel from XL for the lift station. There is usable portions of that. So how that might be integrated into Public Works as well, how we could utilize that site,
So
so.
not the whole campus, but maybe putting something there.
Exactly. Yep.
Like a possible, like a building for cold storage, so we'd have, we got the property already, so. Yep. Thank you, Greg.
Is there any other questions? If not, I make a motion to approve resolution 23-106, authorizing HR Green to do the feasibility study.
A second?
We got a motion from Mike, second from Robin. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mark Evansteiner, 2010A bond redemption and assessment payoff. 2 resolutions.
Good evening, council. So I have the 2010A bond redemption and assessment payoff, as Mr. Hendrickson had mentioned. So a little bit of background, the city had recently sold multiple parcels in the industrial park on 132nd Street Southeast. The properties were initially assessed for the benefit received from infrastructure funded by the capital improvements that were completed with the issuance of the 2010A bonds, in essence, the construction of the street and the curb. The assessments provided a portion of the funding needed for the repayment of the bonds. So there was an assessment portion as well as a tax levy that was received as we've paid off those bonds over time. So with the receipt of the land proceeds along with the property tax levy that we currently have some reserves, the city can now prepay the 24 through 26 principal of the 2010A bonds, totaling $445,000 plus accrued interest through November 30th. I think that was just a little over $6,000 of accrued interest. Staff worked closely with Northland Securities to evaluate the prepayment options, debt service to maturity. So we did include the schedules in the support. Considering the receipt of the land sale proceeds and the bond documents allowing for the prepayment, staff would propose that the city move forward with both the prepayment of the assessments and then the prepayment of the related 2010A bond. So as we utilize the sale proceeds to prepay the assessments, those assessment proceeds will then be available to prepay the bonds. There's two attached resolutions. The one for the prepayment of the assessments, which we'll forward to the county as we decertify those or prepay. And then as well, there's the required notice of the prepayment. So with the approval of that resolution, we'll work closely with Northland. They'll let the bondholders know. There's a 30-day call period, and then we'll call those bonds. The plan would be November 30th would be the call date. So the budgetary impacts with the prepayment, that would allow for proceeds for the assessments right around $178,000. And then by prepaying the bonds, we would save about $25,000 of additional interest costs through the term of those bonds. So with that, I can answer any questions. We did discuss this at last month's Budget and Finance Committee and did support moving forward with the prepayment of the assessments and the call of the bonds. So with that, I would look for a motion and a second for the two resolutions, 23-103 approving the prepayment of the assessments, and then 23-104 calling for the redemption of the bonds. And with that, I can answer any questions.
All right, so we'll take these separately. So the first one will be 23-103. How do we wish to proceed?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 23-103, approving the assessment prepayment of the industrial park improvements.
I'll second.
All right, we got a motion from Robin, second from Mike. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Then I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 23-104, calling for the redemption of the bonds.
I'll second that also.
And we got a motion from Robin, second from Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, and stay put. We got a couple of
you.
public hearings and to call for, and the first one's yours.
All right, thank you, council. So looking to call a public hearing for the consideration to certify unpaid utility charges as well as weed and grass removal charges. So staff are currently working on compiling a list of utility accounts greater than 60 days past due. These items are brought to the council at the public hearing for consideration to certify to the county for collection with the 2024 property taxes. So staff are proposing holding a public hearing at the regular council meeting on November 21st, 2023. The notices will be mailed detailing the time and date of the public hearing regarding any unpaid charges. Very similar on the weed and grass side. So staff had just a little bit of mention of the timing. Staff had sent grass and weed violation charges to residents in June and August of this year. Residents were given 10 days to mow their properties prior to public works staff completing the work on their behalf. Residents were mailed invoices 2 weeks after the initial violation. Notices were sent out for work city staff had conducting, giving 30 days to pay their bills. To consider these for certification as well, we'd want to hold a public hearing and are proposing that for the November 21st date as well. So with that, we'd be looking for a motion. There'll be separate motions, but a motion to call for the public hearing for the unpaid utilities and then an additional motion to call for the unpaid weed and grass removal charges. And with that, I can answer any questions.
So if I have unpaid utility charges or weed grass charges and they were to get certified, there's an extra fee for that, isn't there?
There is. Yep. There's a certification fee, I believe of $50, and then there's an additional interest that will be tacked on as well for collection with
So
24.
if I was in this situation, I can reach out before, I don't have to wait for this hearing, I can reach out beforehand and,
Absolutely. Yep. The certification letters are prepared. I think they're sitting on our desk and they'll be mailed out soon. So yes, if you have the opportunity and you're aware that you might have some delinquent charges, definitely follow up with city staff and we can help you work through those payments.
thank you. Okay, so we'll look for two different motions here.
I'll make a motion to call for a public hearing on Tuesday, November 21st at approximately 5 o'clock to consider the assessment of unpaid utility charges.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'll
Second.
make a motion to call for a public hearing to be held on Tuesday, November 21st, approximately 5 o'clock, to consider the assessment of unpaid weed and grass removal charges.
I'll second that.
Motion from Robin, second from Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Great, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, call for a public hearing for, vacation of University Avenue Southeast. Mr. Jacob Saunders.
Thank you. Before tonight, we have a call for a public hearing for a vacation of a road. So University Avenue Southeast is the road that kind of lies through where University of Minnesota used to have a lot of their research and all the trees over there. Excel owns the property. It was established by 10 Roadrunner a long time ago. So the road really doesn't serve any public benefit at this point. You'll note on the agenda and the memo, it says partial vacation. It should say vacation in general for the whole road. The reason that is this is just a call for the public hearing for November 7th. And to give the maximum flexibility for the vacation of the road, we just established, we're recommending calling for public hearing for the whole thing. It may well end up being that it's only a partial, but if certain things change in relation to these properties, as far as getting them ready for development in the future, then we would just keep it with a partial. So this just gives you the flexibility that you need should things change between now and November 7th. So without, just seeking for a motion in a second, adopting resolution 23-107, setting the public hearing for vacation at the Tuesday, November 7th city council meeting.
This has always been one of those trivia gotcha questions. You could tell people how well they know Becker because it's a University Avenue and everything. Most people just look at you and think you're making it up.
It's a trail.
All right, council, how do we wish to proceed?
I make a motion, we approve resolution 23-107, calling for a public hearing for partial vacation at University Avenue Southeast on November 7th.
Yeah, yep, November 7th.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Mike, second from Robin. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Consent agenda, Mr. LaRude.
Items for approval on tonight's consent agenda include the hiring and termination report for Becker Community Center in Pebble Creek, approving the statement of work for Civic Plus for renewal of the city's website hosting, adopting resolution 23-102, accepting a donation from the Becker Lions Club in the amount of $5,000 for the Becker Disc Golf Course, approve new tobacco license for Becker Tobacco Incorporated, and approve a new cannabinoid license for Becker Tobacco Incorporated. And I will answer any questions if you have any.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion from Robin, second from Mike. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Alrighty, payment of the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion from Robin, second from Mike to pay the bills. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Alright, does anybody have any, further business for the betterment of Becker? If not, we'll entertain a motion to close.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned 5:24 PM. Where did my consent agenda?
Oh, no, you're good. How are you? Can I take step one?
There we go.